Although I think the stream just heard me.
Well, no, we're back. Okay, sorry about that, everyone. We had a minor microphone hiccup, so the stream went down and it's back up.
I blame everyone but myself. I
Um,
just want everyone to know that.
all right, cool. Sorry about that, ladies and gentlemen. We had a slight miniature hiccup. I think if I edit that and move that and bring that to there and this to here. All right, we should be good. Welcome, everybody, to episode 3 of At What Cost. I'm TheSource. Joining me, as always, is Azaraki Dragon. And it was not Azaraki's fault that the stream went down for a second.
Yeah, see, take that, Omaze.
Uh,
He said he blamed me.
no, it wasn't you. It was not Azaraki, although he sounds quieter than usual, which makes me think...
I can turn. Alright, you guys watching the stream, how does everything sound? Because I can turn myself up with this sound mixer I have right now. That'll avoid screwing everything else up.
Yeah, so for now, Azaraki's a little bit quieter than we'd like. Um, he,
There, I just turned up. How's that?
I think we should be. I think we should be good. Um, Let us know if he. Yeah, he is a little bit quiet, but I think I've managed to get him to be a wee bit louder. And
Rar.
still quiet. Try now, Azza.
Alright, here we go. My setting is pretty high. I don't know about yours.
All right, I think we're good. We should be good now. Sorry about that, everyone. I think that Skype had a fit and decided that everything needed to be quieter. Yeah. All right. So we should be good now.
So everything's balanced. Sweet.
Everything is nice
That
and
is
balanced,
good
and
news.
we can get right to it because I don't think we have any more random quips or qualms, gripes or complaints. Really, Omaze? It's too loud?
Is it actually too loud or
Oh, god damn it.
no, he's way. Damn it.
See, this is why we can't trust
Omaze.
people in
We
Twitch
just can't
chat.
trust
Mostly just
Omaze.
Omaze.
Yeah, it's mostly Omaze.
Alright, guys, well, we'll get into our standard procedure, which is we're going to go through one full-length game, and then we'll go over some individual clips of things from solo queue, some great escapes, some triple kills, and all the rest of it. We had a pentakill that we couldn't get the video to operate with because I forgot to record it because I'm a scrub.
Still everyone's fault but mine.
Everybody's fault but Azaraki's. So let's swap things over and
Alright, also,
move that a little bit.
still, none of you guys sent us any clips, so we have to use our own again. Again, the goal of this is so that people could send in clips and tell us, hey, I want to improve my game on, say, Petrus, or something like that. And we'll tell you, what you could be doing better in certain situations. But no one sent us anything yet, so we can't do that.
Yep, we're still sad. We're very saddened. Why are you saddening us, viewers? You guys gotta send us in clips so that we can really get down to it. Either way, let's start things up in 3, 2, 1, go.
On the other hand, Omaze said, for example, it's too hot, and I think he means your camera face thing on there is too hot.
Clearly.
That is something Omaze would say.
Clearly that is something that Omis would say. So, this is a game I actually did not play in this one. For once, there's a game without me. This was Azaraki's game. And we can already see something interesting. He's playing Kindra, which you don't see a lot of jungle Kindra anymore.
Not very much at all. And part of the reason for that is because I guess people stopped liking to play tactician tanks. And this is one of those rare occurrences where we actually have two, which once we have two tanks, then I basically treat it as an okay to go for a Kindred jungle, which is really cool. And on top of that, our two gladiators right now are Varion and Kensu. Kensu being the new shaper, and those two are both physical damage. So we needed a fairly good deal of magic damage to round out the amount of damage we're doing from our team. And Kindred just fits everything really perfectly right now. So that's awesome.
Don't trust Omes or his King of Masks. Don't trust anybody in their King of Masks. Can't trust King of Masks. Um, Either way, also some of you may have noticed Azaraki's loadout page. We'll ignore that for a minute unless
Just bring attention to it
of course
by
must
telling
bring
people to
attention to
annoy it.
it. Of course. So yeah, this
The
team
page itself, there's nothing wrong with the page itself. It's just the name, so try not to look at the name.
try not to, and by not you will.
Yeah.
So yeah, the this team comp is something that isn't seen as often as it used to be. You don't. He's right. A lot of people are running things like Viana. Mina's really popular. Um,
Zeri's actually
Zeri's been
the one I've
coming
seen the
back.
most of.
I've been playing a lot of carry Zeri to the detriment of my team, or to the fears of my team, and to me destroying their fears by playing an awesome carry Zeri and being the Lightning Lord. It's lots of good fun. But yeah, so their team comp has a lot of straight physical damage because, ironically enough, there are no tank supports that are magic damage. Reyna, Mara, Kel, Cerulean, they are all actually physical damage, which people tend to forget. So you lose a lot of you used to lose a lot by this, and then the option would be play jungle Kindra. She was a fairly good assassin. She could sustain well in the jungle, and she'd show up and kill everybody. And that sort of kind of fell away. Mostly, I think when Salas came out, I think she can't duel Salas, and I think that was one of the real reasons that people stopped playing her.
And yeah, that's definitely one of the possibilities there. And one thing that I can point out already is that on most junglers, I start Resilience, but on Kindra, I like to start Life. And the biggest reason for that is because as Kindra, I really don't build Resilience into anything. Like my late game build doesn't really have any Resilience items. If you need any physical resistance, if you need any armor, you'll probably end up going for something like Vengeance or Glory. And
Also, we
that's
are
probably
aware
better.
that the top is cut off. That was actually in the recording process. So this isn't this isn't something we can fix with the overlay. It was just something that happened when it got recorded. So we are sorry about that. You won't be able to see the kills in the
And that
game. So we'll keep track ourselves. I'll
Yeah, that's
try.
something that I cannot say I blame everyone but myself on because it is actually sort of my fault.
Yeah, there was a slight cut. There was a slight cut off in the overlay, and things happen. So yeah, start out resilience, move towards haste, move towards power, the standard jungle route, which a lot of people don't think about. A lot of people start on blue,
Oh God.
and
Here,
Azaraki will
yeah.
have a little tangent with that.
All right, so the reason you don't start haste is because if you start haste, you have two directions to go. Okay, that's fine. Say you go down towards the bottom of the map and take your power. All right, now where do you go? You have to either steal the enemy's resilience or go all the way back up to your own resilience. Now, there are a bunch of flaws with that. First of all, if the enemy started resilience, you're going to go over there, see that they already took it, and realize that you just wasted the 30 seconds that it takes to run over there and back. However, if you go back up to your resilience, then that's a ton of travel time another basically 30 seconds of travel time that you didn't need to do if you started with either power or resilience, because you can go in a straight line rather than start in the middle, go to the bottom, and then go all the way back up to the top. And on top of that, it's easier for the enemy jungler, to steal your buff if you start blue, then go down to the bottom to get power and go back up for resilience, because there's going to be, a good 20 or 30 seconds where he's going to be able to attack your resilience buff before you get there. So there's a lot of loss of control you get if you start haste buff, which is why I generally don't like it and when anyone starts haste buff. Volok can get away with it because Volok can clear so fast that he can take out his haste and then take out one of the other buffs and then just barrel himself into the enemy jungle and, I don't know, maybe pick up a kill or something, but that's just Volok's early game.
I'd
But
say
even
Kogan
then,
might be able to do it. Kogan has the fastest clear speed in the game right now, so he might be able to.
but the problem is Kagen can't duel as well as Volok can.
That is true. If you run into a jungle as a Kogan and you're not ready for what's on the other side, bad things will happen. And the Kensu goes so ham. And this right here is really important, guys. Watch what Azaraki did. He hit the minion wave, and that actually saved Kensu. Otherwise, the minions would have continued to aggro to him.
Yeah, and that's just knowing the game and playing the game for a while. And that was just going ham.
Yeah, there was way too much ham in that last play.
A lot of ham. So a bunch of I don't remember if that was First Blood or anything. Yeah,
First
it
Blood
must.
got picked up on the Cerulean, then you guys picked up 2 counter kills.
Ah, right. That's what happened. So that ward right there, the deep ward, is really cool for the jungler to place. Uh, if your lanes are warding sort of standard, which is basically the entrance to the bottom half of the jungle, in that sort of gray strip you see in the middle of the map, and the sort of middle side of that gray entrance to the lane, then those are the 2 prime ganking spots there. And if both lanes ward in those 2 spots, then your jungler ward can go sort of deep. You can place it where I did, or you can even place it at the bush right next to the haste buff, which is generally going to see if they use that sort of entryway at all near there. And I didn't actually catch this on film, but something happened and Varian got dove. He also died there.
Yeah, he was pretty low. I'm surprised it took them that long to pick up the kill. A lot of Forests don't think to switch to the they have a ranged form, but they don't switch to it often enough. I think too many Forests are like way too high on the whole I'm an assassin, I have blades, must use blades, as opposed to like the pseudo assassin AD carry nonsense that you can get up to. And I think it was time to duel right here. Might have been time to duel. Does Kindra do well against Freya? I feel like Freya wins that matchup in a 1v1.
Yeah, Freya does win that matchup in a 1v1, especially after the changes to Kindra. The changes to Kindra harmed her dueling, but it honestly helped her team fighting a little bit, because the old Nox Eterna didn't really do all that much damage, whereas the new one does a lot of damage, and you can actually end up positioning yourself better, because with the old ultimate, one thing that happened was that whoever you started on, you landed on as well. So enemies could accurately predict that if they saw who you started on and wait out their CC to use the AoE CC or whatever right where the first target was. So you'll end up getting CC'd as soon as you drop down. With the new ultimate, you get actually more mobility, but you lose that untargetableness. So it wasn't necessarily a straight nerf, but it made her a lot harder to play and a lot more risk reward.
Yeah, additionally, I was going to say this before, but then you talked more about it. Nox Eterna being the name for her ultimate, which is not a name I immediately remember being her ultimate.
I just remember it because it's Latin.
Fair enough. Azaraki versus Source, who wins, Omaze? We play completely different positions. Azaraki's a hardcore jungler, and I play utility supports and carries, so I don't know who wins in a 1v1. It depends on who we're playing.
But that other time, we did meet each other in
Yeah,
solo
we did
queue,
meet each
and
other
I
in solo
so
queue, and then my team lost, which was not my fault. I had no control of that, and that's a pretty heavy dive by Cerulean. And there you guys saw the his ultimate. That's, he just used one tick of his ultimate and he killed the target. That's what her ultimate now looks like. It's sort of more like another dash for her, similar to like an Akali dash. Honestly, I think it makes her more mobile. It's really terrifying.
Oh yeah, she's a lot more mobile with it, and she can use it 3 times. So it's actually a lot safer too, because what this allows you to do is that it allows you to, and I just figured this out at this point in the video. While I was playing, I figured out, okay, you can't dash to minions with your ultimate, only enemy shapers. So one thing that you can do with the new Kindra is sort of initiate and use your ultimate as your mobility, but save your E for when you need an escape or when you need a quick reposition, because your E can be used on allied minions, allied shapers, enemy minions, and jungle creeps. Your ultimate can only be used on enemy shapers, so it's a lot more value to save your E until you really need that extra reposition.
This is why I don't play Kindra. Actually, the only reason I don't play Kindra is because you play Kindra. I was like, I'm not going to learn all the characters that Azaraki plays. There'd be no point.
That works as well.
Yeah, I've played her a couple of times, only maybe once or twice since they made the change since she got her changes in the patch. I gave her a couple of practice games. So at this point, game's still pretty even. You guys have both teams have sort of picked up kills. I think you guys are ahead a little bit at this point.
Yeah, I wish I pressed tab more often, or just not screwed up the top of the video in the first place.
Yeah, that would have been nice. Shield mortal strike changes.
Shield mortal. What?
I'm looking the
Right.
questions about
I
the
remember
shield.
that.
Oh, right. So the mortal strike changes. That's actually a really interesting bit, which isn't a nerf to really anyone in this game. It actually has a decent effect on Mina, because of the way her shield regenerates. You see the shield that's on the forest right now. That regenerates a little bit. What's really crazy about this is now shields take mortal strike damage. So what that means is if you have a mortal strike, shields are instantly affected by the half healing effect. So you cut shields in half. The reason that's really valuable now is because there's been this resurgence of Fenmore in about platinum to diamond level MMR. If you guys are unfamiliar, there is actually an MMR system in Dawngate. You guys can check it out at Dawnscout. Dawnscout.com will show you what your MMR is, and it gives you the whole breakdown. So there's been this resurgence of Fenmore. I'll actually explain that after this team fight. Here, they went really, really deep onto the Kel, take a lot of damage. Forest is now taking a lot of damage, and that was a really good ultimate from Cerulean, or from Varion. That was actually a really well-placed ultimate. That was in a really good corridor.
Yeah, he also managed to net it so that it hit most of the squishies who were clumped up around whoever his target was. So that sort of made the enemy team back off. Even though they didn't die, they still got a lot of map control from using Varion's ultimate. And yeah, one thing that when you and I were discussing the patch notes one-on-one, one thing I mentioned was that the Mortal Strike changes were basically sort of a stealth nerf to Fenmore, because that was part of his big deal, was the shield. And a lot of people didn't realize how crucial Fenmore's shield really was, because it's on his Q, and his Q is an instant cast, so whoever you click on with your Q as Fenmore, you instantly damage them, and if you're standing within range, you instantly get a shield as well. And that can be very dangerous, and it comes up every, 3 or 4 seconds? It's got a really short cooldown.
At max cooldown, you're looking at about 3 to 4 seconds, depending on other items you have. If you have something like a Zeal or Defiance, I think you can drop it to like 2.8, I think is the lowest I've personally ever made it. But yeah, he's right. The shield is an instant cast, and if that's cut in half by someone using a Pain, which is a key item against Fenmore, it does a lot, especially because, as I was saying, there's been a resurgence of Fenmore with this sort of stat tank Fenmore. Yeah, you see like hardcore carry Fenmore, but what's really been effective has been this heavy stat tank Fenmore. Lots of magic resist, lots of health, a little bit of armor off of Ambition, I think it is.
I think Ambition and Passion both
Yeah,
have.
Ambition and Passion both have armor. So it's a little bit of armor off of Ambition, but what's crazy is you build things like Valor. You build things like Oppression. You build things like Defiance. Yeah, Fenmore, the Fenmore changes really are going to hurt him. And yes, I was a very big Fenmore player, and I was sad too to see it happen. But what this build did was it made Fenmore stupidly tanky to burst. You couldn't really burst him. And then the spellbook spells you picked up were Barrier, Deflect, and I want to say what was the common third spell that people were using?
It was most likely Stasis.
I think it was Stasis, yeah. So you were running Barrier, Deflect, and Stasis. That was 2 more shields on top of your 2.8 second shield, roughly. That's going to cut his damage in half. It does affect Kindra a little bit, because she does get that shield, doesn't she? Or is the shield gone?
That was actually changed. Yeah, the shield is gone, and right now her W, rather than give her a shield, just slows.
Okay.
Which is still pretty cool.
That's a little bit.
Also puts her a little bit more towards the skill range of things, rather than just hurt or spam buttons and win.
It also, I think, does a really big chunk of damage to tanks now, because there are a lot of tanks who are building things with what are some of those defensive items with magic resist shields?
Ooh, I can't really name any of them off.
It's like an item I never use, so I'm like,
oh yeah.
If anybody in the chat remembers it, let us know. Any of the items that provide momentary bursts of shield, Hope does it, doesn't it?
No, Hope is just you get more armor and magic resist.
Yeah. Either way, yeah. Here's a Fenmore, or there's not a Fenmore, a Faris getting ruined, and Mina's shield actually did not do that much. Granted, Mina stayed on him, and that's not how you're supposed to play Mina. Word to the wise: don't sit on top of your carry. It's really just doing free jam. really just doing free damage.
See, if you guys were wondering about the scoreboard, hopefully we might actually catch it a little bit earlier next time so that I can just say pause so that we can look at the scoreboard for a little bit longer just to gauge where each
Did
team
you
is
catch what the kills were at?
No, I didn't. I know I was 3-2-1 at this point. There were a couple people, not too many kills around the board. I think most people just held 1 or 2 at this point.
Okay. But
So
yeah,
it's pretty
so
even.
those Mortal Strike changes are pretty big. The Ashabel changes, we'll talk about that a little bit later. I've got a solo queue fighter too that involve new Ashabel, and by new I mean hurts me so bad to see what they have done to my dear Smashabel. So we'll go over that a little bit too.
And if you guys do have anything else you want to ask, feel free to do so.
Yeah, keep
just
asking
like you did
questions.
about
We'll just go off on tangents.
Yeah, we can talk about whatever.
Ooh, I
Dawngate
think this is
related
about to be a
subject.
good team fight. The rotation looks good.
I think they have a lot of mobility, but we might pick up something.
Yeah, no, nice fear from Kensu. Good slow onto the calm, but it is a calm, so you know.
Yeah, you're not catching calm.
No kills actually. That's depressing. That was a pretty good rotation through the center. I don't think they saw you. And dear God, the calm tentacles. Tentacle monster calm is pretty dangerous.
Yeah, he does a lot of damage. And actually, if he had have thrown eggs over as well, I think I might have been dead as well.
Oh, definitely.
And just keep stepping.
Just keep stepping. Oh man, that's one big thing about Ashabel that always really bugged me when I started playing her before I really got really got her rhythm, which is one of the things we'll talk about later. Is Ashabel's ultimate has a really odd delay. Keep that in mind whenever you play her. The delay is longer than you think it should be. There's a delay on the cast and then there's a delay on the animation. It's probably about 2 seconds ish. So it gets really difficult to set that up. One of my favorite things on Ashabel is to lay down my ultimate while dueling someone. They'll step forward, and then I'll switch to Gale stance and knock them back with my E, and just push them straight back into the ultimate as it lands. That's always fun.
I've actually seen people do that with Ashabel's Q as well, which is very
That's
talented.
some really
because
high
it's
speed
really
to
hard
her.
to do, yeah.
And there's Calm paying for his sins. I'm not sure what he was doing there. That was really, really aggressive. He walked right into 2 at less than half health. And to be honest, I don't care how fed you are.
Kel just stuns you.
Kel literally just walked up to him and was like, I'm sorry, but no.
This is my fail attempt at a Pokemon reference. I should have said gotta catch 'em all, but instead I said he catches them all, which is really fail actually.
Wow, them chat Poke reference fails.
Because he said Ash instead of Asha, so I thought Pokemon rather than Ashabel. You know, it's natural.
It made sense. It made sense in your head. It made sense in your head.
It's one of those, it seemed like a good idea at the time things.
Oh, those are always those end badly. Those usually end in pentakills and waking up in places you don't remember, you never knew you were in.
Yeah.
Yeah. Either way, see, I don't know how I feel about Resonance Kensu. People have been building it, and I don't know, I'm more partial to Fate Kensu, to be honest. If you guys aren't familiar with Kensu yet, he is the new Shaper. He is an AD carry, and we have a dive onto Ashabel, instant flip back, perfect fear, and that was really well coordinated. But did you ult? Okay, you didn't ult. I was about to say, if you had ulted, that would not have been worth it.
Yeah, that guy was dead either way. Like, that fear landed straight on and could flip as well by Teradek, who's actually, I believe, in the chat as Trent Stabler.
Yeah, and then this is
And
Calm
Calm,
just
what if-
staying too long.
Yeah. One thing that people just seem not to get too often is that when you're underneath the tower and there are 3 people attacking the tower and it's like, 4 hits from going down, your best option is probably just to leave, especially when one of them is a Cerulean who can just knock you back.
Honestly, I think people stay too long at towers in Dawngate. Towers die a lot faster in Dawngate than they do in League of Legends. Like, there's no bonus armor that comes on to gets the towers don't get any bonus armor over the course of the game. They don't their health is a lot lower. Damage scales a little bit faster in this game. Supports do a lot more damage. Anyone who's a lane support is likely to do more damage, so towers are going to go down a lot faster. Keep that in mind whenever you're trying to protect a tower. If it's at half health, unless you're really confident you're going to pick up at least a 2-for-1, it's not worth staying and trading a 1-for-1, because then you give up a 1-for-1 to multiple people, they pick up multiple assists and then still get your tower.
And the way power works in this game, how it's both attack damage and ability power, sort of works the same way it does in, I think, Dota does it like that.
Dota,
Where
the way
you build
damage works,
stats that
the way damage
work-
works in Dota, supports still do damage. Is basically what you're getting at. The way
Right, and
whatever
auto
stat
attacks.
you build factors into your auto attacks, not your
Yeah.
abilities. So people who are supports still, their auto attacks still matter, especially at the earlier stages of the game.
Yeah, and that's definitely true here as well. In Dawngate, if everyone builds power, basically, unless you're a straight tank, anyone who does damage is going to build power, which will not only increase your abilities if you're a mage, but your auto attacks as well. So right now, my auto attacks are still hitting for, 120 damage or something like that. They're just not as strong as an AD carries, and they're not up as often. But my spells also scale that way as well. So I can take towers a lot faster, and I can still keep that burst that I have. So that's another factor towards being able to take towers faster in this game than League of Legends.
Also, attack speed and cooldown reduction are also on the same stat. Lovely having all of my stats in one nice convenient place. So haste, the stat of haste will factor into attack speed. So Kindra, she's got 45 attack, 45 haste. That's still pretty good bonus attack speed. She attacks probably about as fast as, your average bruiser in a game of League of Legends. Not a Jax, but a decent, mid to late game bruiser who's got a little bit of bonus attack speed, maybe a Nocturne, if you guys are familiar with League of Legends. So there is that, always keep auto attacking in Dawngate because everyone is probably built up a little bit of power. A lot of the heavy support items carry a little bit of power on them or a little bit of haste, and it's better to have those stats. You better use those stats you have than be like, oh, my basic attacks don't do any damage. No, they will do damage.
This is that was a good example what you just saw, Freya getting caught out, of Spirit Well tunnel visioning, and I actually saw a thread on Reddit about this as well, on the Dawngate subreddit, was that some people seem to have some sort of tunnel vision with Spirit Wells, and granted, they do, over a long period of time, add up. They give you a lot of bonus Vim if you take them, but at the same time, a lot of people who are playing Dawngate I've seen sort of tunnel vision on them too much. Like right there, she was too focused on the Spirit Well and didn't realize that 3 people were on their way to come kill her. Also, they didn't really have enough map control to try to go for that either. As you can see, our top lane binding is still up, which is something that you want to take before you try to full-on cap that Spirit Well, especially solo.
Yoitselli.
Yoitselli, I think.
Yoitselli. Ooh, this is going to be a good dive. So this is a moment where Mina should have instantly jumped off of him. She should have jumped right into the fight, feared everyone. Instead, she said, I'll tank damage for him. No, that's not how Mina works. And she wound up giving up 2 kills to them. That could have resulted in a really good play. Now they're going to pick up Calm 2. Freya's going to dive in. She's probably going to go down as well. I think they have the damage. I don't think anybody will die here. Yeah, no. You guys are all tanky enough to get out. That was just really bad decision making by their Mina. And, those are the tiny things that come from playing the character a lot. Mina being on a carry does not absorb the damage like everyone thinks it does. It actually just gives her 40% of the damage. They still take full damage. She just takes 40% of it, and that's the cost of doing business for sitting on top of them. Now, what she can do is shield them. The shield will regenerate, and that's really, really useful. But you have to jump on and off to get the shield to instantly regenerate, so she should have jumped off and jumped back on. And yeah, too many people go for Wells late game. Wells, to be honest, are very, very valuable, but they're valuable at certain times. Wells are valuable when there's nothing left on the map. When Parasite isn't up, when bindings are still up and no one's in a position to take them, or when all of the bindings are down outside of the 2 protecting the base. Those are when they're the most valuable, because those are the times where there isn't a really easy way to get economy. Parasite is down, and you're pushing with your Striders. Go take a Spirit Well, because that's the best place you're gonna find economy. All the towers are down, and you don't want to try and breach their base just yet. You're waiting on a couple of key items. Spirit Wells have value then.
Yeah, and right here we see another chase going on. This whole thing started from Ashabel, I guess AFKing in a bush, which is something you never really want to do, especially against a Kindra, basically. So yeah, one other really good time to take a Spirit Well is if your entire team is trying to push down a tower, but the minions aren't there yet. So if you just clear a minion wave and you see that your next minion wave is all the way back across your half of the map, then you can go take a Spirit Well because you're not going to be able to do any pushing until those minions get there. So you might as well occupy your time by getting a little bit more of an economy lead. And that's another good time you can use to take take a Spirit Well and instead. And
Yeah.
also, Matt of LA, the tower comment you made before was really good. Like my face when I read those tower changes was just, this is like having a really good brownie. If you've ever had like that one really good brownie, the one that's got the fudge and all that.
Fudge
you know,
towers are like fudge brownies is basically what you're learning here, everyone. A good tower is like a good fudge brownie.
Yeah, and what basically happened before is that before the changes, towers would instantly shoot you as soon as they targeted you, which, you know, you can step inside the tower's range if there are no minions or anyone else tanking it for a nanosecond, and it would shoot at you. Even if you got out directly after that nanosecond, it would still shoot you, which was really annoying and honestly didn't really express skill of the game. It was more just like sort of a, oh, I accidentally was 1 pixel too far forward and it shot me for no reason, and that could actually change a lot of fights. With the new changes, that doesn't happen anymore. You get a quarter of a second to sort of react and get out of there before the tower actually shoots you, which is an amazing change. I love that so much because it's a lot more responsive.
Yeah. I had something. There was something. Whatever. You went way too ham. That's what I'm gonna go with. Azza went too ham. He died. Picked a bad fight.
Tried to duel
Tried
Freya.
to duel a Freya. Don't duel Freyas,
Yeah, don't
people.
duel Freyas.
Don't duel Freyas. Don't do Volix. Don't duel
Especially not Volux.
Faris.
Oh my god.
Faris,
you guys-
Volek, and Freya. Don't duel them. It's a bad idea. It is never time to duel against those three characters. Faris will dash in and out and, you know, will take you out. You really got to be able to burst him down. Freya will fear you and get stupid amounts of lifesteal, and Volek will just consume your soul with stupid amounts of lifesteal.
Yeah, here, if you guys ever have trouble playing against Volok, here are some things to remember. Early game, ward not the lane bushes.
Never,
I don't know
honestly,
how to say
never
it.
ward lane bushes unless you're really pushed under tower and you're not going anywhere for a while. You're better off warding the entrances coming in behind, around Parasite, and then in the back of the jungle to see where he's moving.
This is true with Salus as well. If you're up against Jungle Salus, make sure you ward farther away because Salus has such a long range on his Q that he can basically gank you without you even seeing it. He can already.
Wow,
be
that Kensu blinked for that. That was pretty ballsy.
It was.
That was pretty ballsy. I don't know if I would have blinked for that as a Kensu. That was dangerous as hell. But you know, he made it out. He had a plan. He stuck with it.
And with Volok, basically, when you first see Volok, is not when you want to be in range of his slow. Because once you're in range of his slow, unless you have a mobility ability, then you're basically doomed to a Volok gank. There's no real way of getting around that. So against Volok and Salus, ward far away. Don't ward in the lane bushes. And that will allow you to stop getting killed early game against Volok. And in terms of a mid-game Volok, don't stand near him when he ulties. And when you're trying to initiate a fight, try not to initiate it on Volok because he's going to pop his ulti and then just not die.
Indeed.
Just refuse to die. He literally says no and proceeds not to die.
Yep, and again, you know, this is their team spending a little bit too much time trying to trying to pick things off one by one. I don't know why Ashabel is out there. I don't know why she stopped to hit you. Granted, she seems that she's gonna live. No, she does. Does she? Did she blink back onto the base? I can't tell.
I'm trying to look at the portraits.
No, she did not. She died. Yeah, she's dead. So yeah, no, definitely, you know, you're an Ashabel. Stay far away. You've got the greatest range ability in the game. I'm sorry, but like, you know, Kensu's E. That's pretty long range. It's pretty good. You know, what else? What else has a really long range? Even his ultimate has a really long range. But Ashabel's Q is one of the longest range CC skill shot abilities in the game. If you can, you know, you can kite an entire team doing that, and get away with it.
Calm.
Oh, calm.
We need to turn calm into like the Khan thing from Star Trek. It's like calm instead of Khan. There you go.
Khan.
Because he
King
just
of Masks
completely denied me that kill.
King of Masks is a jerk. Everyone knows that King of Masks is a jerk. He's a very, very interesting shaper. He does deceptive late game damage. He's got insane control. Some of the best calm players can double dash, and while mid dash are throwing out skill shots that you didn't think were coming from that angle. It's really impressive to see really good calm players. But that calm was jerk. That calm was a jerk because he didn't let the duel happen. It was a duel amongst junglers, and he could have let it happen.
And it was gonna be that one time where I actually kill Freya.
Yeah, that's true. It would have been the one time that a Kindred killed a Freya in a duel.
I'm not sure if I die anymore during this game, but I've died a lot to Freya. I think all my deaths are to Freya so far.
Oh, no, you died to someone else at least once.
Maybe.
Possibly. Either way, a little bit on items. You guys just saw him pick up Defiance. It's that little red eye. Little red eye.
What, are you highlighting it with your cursor now or something?
I
can't see the stream. What's he doing?
I'm playing with my arrows and my boxes.
Oh. Okay.
That is
you really wanted to use those arrows this game.
I always want to use the arrows, man. The arrows are key.
Alright, and they end up chasing our team too far.
Actually, we've got a little bit of video lag. Hold on.
Alright, do you want me to pause?
Yeah, pause for a minute.
Alright, I'm at 1330.
Let's see. 1330?
Yeah.
You mean 3113?
I mean 3330.
Yeah, that's what I was like. That doesn't make any sense. Yeah, let's fix that. Let's see if that.
So where are you?
I'm at 30. Well, so it paused out a couple of few seconds in.
All right, I'll go back to you so that you don't have to skip anything.
I'm trying to get it to resync. It might take a second.
While he's doing that, I can just talk a little bit more about my build. So, basically, for the most part, I'm not worried too much about getting too much lifesteal, because the rest of my team is going to be, hopefully, if they do their jobs right, doing a good amount of peel and good amount of just in-your-face. Kel and Cerulean are really good at in-your-face stuff, so generally I'm not going to be taking too much damage if I play Kindra correctly. And at that point, the sustain on my Q should generally be enough to keep me alive through a lot of these fights, and I'll still be able to burst people down a lot. So at that point I can basically go damage and defiance. And you can see the damage is Justice, which gives you more power as soon as you use an ability that lasts for, I think, 3 seconds. And Kindra's fairly spammy, so especially if she gets resets. So you'll be able to keep a constant, whatever it is, 30 power increase. And I also have Destruction, which is just your general big damage defense penetration item. And Conquest, which is sort of like the Sheen proc in League of Legends. Basically, as soon as you use an ability, your next auto attack does a chunk of extra damage, which is awesome on Kindra as well, because you're basically going to be in melee range the entire time and spamming your spells, so that's just another way to get a front load, a lot more front loaded damage. Now Defiance, that is where we get, I think, 50% cooldown, 80% cooldown reduction. Is it? No, 50% cooldown reduction when you're below 20% health. Is that it? Or is it 80% cooldown reduction before?
Defiance. Whatever. Defiance is okay, there we go. We're getting it back.
Are you good?
Yeah, I had to reset the video. It had a bit of breakingness. I'm gonna jump ahead a bit. Defiance is 80% is 50% reduction. Less than 50% health.
No, it's less than 20,
Oh, no,
20%.
20% health.
But anyway, when I'm on low health, I get super spammy abilities. They get off of cooldown so much faster than they did before.
So you said 33, 20...
33, 30. And that synergizes really well on Kindred because with your E you can dash around twice as fast as you could before. You can use your Q and your W really fast as well and proc your Conquest much more quickly as well. And that's just a bunch of stuff that makes Kindred more powerful. So I decided not to go for Passion this game, which is the lifesteal item that gives you extra spell vamp, extra life drain on your abilities.
Alright, we're good. So
All
we
right.
start in 3, 2, 1.
And Ashabel got caught out again. Here's something that you want to make sure you do on Ashabel, or you don't do, is overextend. Ashabel doesn't have any escapes. The closest thing she has is the knockback, but even then you see it doesn't really do too much. Against a range shaper, it's not really going to do anything because they're not going to be close enough, and against some melee shapers, they can just continue dashing anyway, like I did there. I could just use my E and stick on. So, yeah, don't get caught out of position as Ashabel. There's no way to get out if you do.
Yeah, you basically wind up having to burn your spells. Let's see. Pretty good dive out of the Cerulean. Again, look at this Mina. She's sitting on her carry. Yes, it gives, yes, it gives him a little bit more tankiness. Yes, it reduces some of the damage. Yes, he has the shield. But that's not, like, if she jumped on and jumped off, you could have instantly dashed away. She could have then started running, dashed to him again, because everyone's pretty much full build. That skill is up every 5 to 6 seconds. She's probably got a little bit of cooldown reduction. She could have gotten away, but she kept sitting on top of him.
And she could have also landed a 4-man fear.
And dueled by the Freya. Oh, man.
Like,
Freya made it out.
Going back to the Mina, she could have jumped off and landed a 4-man fear under tower. Like, that would have been really good. It probably wouldn't have stopped us, but it would have made sure that we couldn't push into their base this far. We would have taken a lot of extra damage and maybe saved Ferris. So that's something else that you have to consider when playing Mina.
Yeah, one of my favorite Mina builds is sort of a tank Mina. I've got lots of resistances. I've got lots of health. I can dive into the middle of the enemy team. I instantly build Defiance because you get really, really low on Mina and you essentially get to spam your shield. You can jump on and off of multiple people. So jump onto someone's shield and jump off fear, jump on shield, jump off fear. It gives you so many, like, troll-tastic plays. It's freaking awesome.
This is Commander Mina right here.
Yeah, I also my other Smurf, my main is TheSource, but my Smurf is Commander Mina, which is pretty much dedicated to just playing Mina, because she's a lot of fun. And I wanted a Smurf. But you have to consider the full extent of a lot of kits. That's one cool thing about Dawngate, especially if you guys are new players. Keep in mind that a lot of characters don't have mana. So few characters actually have mana.
Or any resource.
Or any resource form. Very, very, very few do. So things like Defiance, things like Zeal, take into account the fact that cooldown reduction can be really valuable on a lot of supports, on a lot of tanks. If you're a CC tank, you can just keep on CC tanking. It's not like in League of Legends where Mina's not male. Caboose. That doesn't work that way. Anyways, there's a lot of tanks that have really.
No, he was making a red versus blue reference.
I know. I realized that later. Oh wait, is this the escape? Oh, it's the stasis. The stasis escape.
Ferris, look at the Ferris getting way too comfortable and be like, "Yeah, I got this. Time to be that guy and walk away from my ulti. It's gonna get the kill." And no, stasis. And that was his mistake right there. He got the syndrome of cool guys walk away from explosions, or cool guys don't look at explosions.
Cool guys don't look at explosions.
And he basically just started walking away thinking that his ult would kill me, and stasis.
Yep, results in a triple kill for their AD carry. They also get the parasite. Pretty much at this point, that was the last nail in Ferris's coffin. They have now reached a point where that would have been the Parasite steal. It would have been like, okay, kill the jungler. Okay, jungler's dead. Kill the tank really, really quickly because he's tanking and he's got the he's got the mortal strike, he's got mortal strike wounds from fighting Parasite. Take out the AD carry last, or even burst the AD carry if you can get on top of him. Pick up Parasite, start to rebound and come back in the game. But he walked away from explosions. You don't walk away from explosions, man. Unless you got to be sure. You got to be sure. He did not think Azaraki had the stasis, and he did.
Yeah, also, one thing that's really beneficial is around the times when people get to level 10 and to level 20, press tab, check what people took for spells. That can actually make a huge difference because you're generally going to play differently depending on what spells you know they have or do not have.
Yeah, if no one's running Blitz, well then your CC's getting through. If no one's running Stasis, you know that there's no chance of someone stasising out of, a finishing blow. If, they don't have flashes, there's a decrease in their mobility. If they don't have Cleanse, it means you can target a single, you can take out that single target. And, you can chain stack your CC.
Alright, I'm gonna go back in here because I honestly don't know why. I think I got all Defiance happy here.
Greed mode. Again, this Mina doesn't jump off.
It was mostly just Calm. Again, Calm is just ruining my life and not letting me kill things.
Calm's pretty good at ruining lives.
Yeah, he did a lot of damage there, but Kensu just Doombushed. Fnatic Doombush.
Oh, he didn't use his flash. That Kensu and that flash. I don't really like flash on Kensu till late game. I think he does way better with Blitz. Oh, he has Blitz. Okay, he did get the Calm. Calm has been felled. The evil Calm has been taken down, everyone. We can rest easy.
So, one thing we can actually talk about as well is spells and when you take certain spells. Generally, Blink is not a good first spell simply because of its cooldown. It has a 6-minute cooldown. That is ridiculous.
That's longer than League. League is 5.
Yeah, it's longer than League's Flash. And if you compare it to the other options you have, as a support, Tailwind is a super good spell. I think it's got a 90-second cooldown.
No,
so
120.
120? Still, you can use that 3 times for every 1 blink. That is really good.
And it's a Shurelya's.
It's a Shurelya's, so everyone around you gets a movement speed buff. That's really good. It can... I run it on all of my tanks, and basically what it does is it lets you... It helps you initiate. Like, for instance, if I'm playing Reyna, and all 5 of my teammates are right there, and I see an opportunity, I'll pop Tailwind, give everyone a movement speed buff. That allows me to position to get my ultimate down on, say, 3 or 4 people of their squishies, and at the same time, it lets my team follow up that much more easily. Whereas if I had Blink, I could get in position and throw my ultimate, land a 3 or 4 man ultimate, but the rest of my team is not going to have as good a time following up.
No, I was scared that it glitched out again. I had a frame rate glitch, I was like, oh dear god, no.
Yeah, I got it too.
Okay, so that was in the edit. Whatchamacallit? Yeah, Tailwind is 120, Blitz is 210.
Blitz is really good as well. First spell Blitz is pretty good.
What is Dispel? I think is 90.
Ooh. I think if that's the case, I might start running Dispel more often.
Yeah, people don't think about Dispel. Dispel is 90, and Dispel is really tricky. It actually has a movement speed bonus on it that people forget about. And you only get the movement speed bonus if you cleanse a CC. So, granted, you only get the movement speed bonus if you use the skill. But it also will, if you cleansed beforehand, and you then get the CC reduction, that's still valuable. But you actually get a little bit. It's like 25% move speed bonus for 3 seconds off of cleanse, and that has a lot of value to it. And now the greed mode, Azaraki tries to pick up another kill before Parasite goes down. Did you get that kill?
I don't think so.
I couldn't tell. Is Calm alive? Yeah, Calm's standing. I can see him off in the corner.
So that's too bad. But there's that
Let's
clip.
See,
there's
pause.
that. As soon as the next clip starts,
I'm
there you go.
at 42:18.
I'm at 19, but I'll just start like a second later than you.
Yeah, that's good. All right, guys. So we finished going through our full match. Now we're gonna switch to adventures. Is this no? How many of these games were Kensu? No, it's not enough to be adventures in Kensu queue.
Yeah, we have like 3 minutes of extra clips.
Yeah, so adventures in solo queue. These are all solo queue situations. A lot of what we'll talk about here is Kensu. We'll talk about a little bit of the Kindred change, because I think we have at least one Kindred clip, which we've already mentioned before. We'll reiterate, because reiterating is apparently what we do a lot of. We'll talk about Kensu in here. I've played a lot of him since he's come out, and I can give a lot of insight into the way he operates, and some of the Ashabel changes, as well as a couple of Parasite plays.
That's quite a long list. We want to see if we can keep that within 6 minutes so that you guys can still watch Game of Thrones, because we're nice, courteous people like that.
Because we need to go watch Game of Thrones. Let's be real. We need to go watch Game of Thrones. So we'll get into this first clip. This isn't the First Blood. First Blood's actually going to wind up on the other side of the map. And then some fighting is going to ensue. So we'll start the clip in 3, 2, 1. So if you guys are unfamiliar with Kensu, he's got a Q that swaps his basic attacks to increase damage, or to give a slow, malice, and despair. He's got a skill shot E that does decent damage, also changes a little bit depending on malice and despair. He's got a skill shot ultimate that changes terrain, and you're actually going to see here Cerulean's going to step way too far forward. He went way too ham, and that circle around him is my dash range. That dash is huge, and I'm able to instantly dash on top of him.
Yeah, and one thing that we have to note about that play as well was just the bot lane combination for their team was Zalgus and Flash. Zalgus and Cerulean.
And 3, 2, 1, stop.
Zalgus and Cerulean, which doesn't really synergize that well, to be honest. If you think about Zalgus, he's a long-range caster who has to land his abilities and all that, which is cool. He wants to stay far away from the action, and one thing about Cerulean is that flipping someone towards your carry is better for sort of physical damage carries, like the ranged carries. And the big reason for that is because they can actually put out more damage. Mages go through their burst, and then there's not much else to do, so keeping them around longer doesn't really help you all that much. Generally, if you want to play with Zalgus, people who synergize well with him are people with really high poke or long range, or people who can keep people off of Zalgus. Like, even Reyna's pretty good, because Reyna has a decent amount of poke, but she can also keep people off of Zalgus really well.
Yeah, her CC doesn't put Zalgus in danger. So that was a little bit of detriment on Cerulean's part. He also didn't account for, the additional damage that Kensu does. My basic attacks at, I think that was level 3, so I had one of each skill. So my basic attacks were getting about 15 extra damage. That's a lot. That's a lot of extra damage at level 3. That on its own is basically an entire power. Base power item, and a hunger. Yeah, that's 15.
Alright, so we have this next clip here of a team fight. You want to count us in?
Yeah, so we'll start in 3, 2, 1. So this is a team fight. We're a little bit behind here. It looks pretty bad. We're pretty caught out. I've taken a lot of damage. Zalgus just took a really huge chunk of damage. Their Mina's ulted. We're kind of in dire straits, but they spend way too much focusing me. We actually have 280 carries on our team. Our Varion's in the back line, and so is our Zalgus.
And there we go. Big team fight right there. There isn't really too much to talk about that you didn't already mention. Most of it was just tunnel visioning, and they just didn't realize the amount of damage pause that Varion did while he was running backwards. And
let's pause. 3, 2, 1. So this is about to be, let's see, which fight is this? I think, yeah, this will result in a couple of kills and a couple of dives. I don't remember this clip as well, but I believe it results in a pretty good triple kill. This is fairly far into the game. Game's actually really even. It's 23-24. We're down a little bit in kills, a little bit in Spirit Wow. They actually have one of their guys off taking that Spirit Wow. Now,
all right.
Yeah, we'll
Just
start
it.
in 3, 2, 1. So yeah, I think Zalgus is gonna. It looks like Zalgus is pretty caught out of position, and their Kensu is running with their Mina. I'm gonna jump him from behind a little bit, and we'll watch the team fight unfold.
Mm-hmm.
So you guys keep seeing those big blue circles. That's Kensu's engagement range. That basically, let's pause in 3, 2, 1. You land 4 basic attacks with Kensu, and you get this dash range, and it's massive. It is huge. It's about, if you were to dash from one point of the circle to like all the way through it, you wind up with like 2 flashes worth of engagement range. It's crazy.
All right, and we're only going to be here for a few more minutes, but if you really want to leave now, don't want to miss that opening theme to Game of Thrones, make sure you follow this stream right here and follow us on Twitter. I'll be linking that right about now. And Braun, you continue. We'll be only here for a couple minutes.
Yeah, we'll only be here for a few more minutes. I'll zip through these pretty quick, and things ran a little bit longer than we thought they would today. Here's actually a pretty hilarious team fight. We think we're chasing them. Varian checks the bush, and all of them are there. That was them way caught out of position. They thought they were, making a play on us, and thought that we had all sort of chased after them. Pretty bad positioning is going to result in 4 kills. And I actually don't think I'll stop. I think I'll just keep going through the rest of these clips. Anything to add to that, Azza?
No, not really. Just that was pretty good insight by Varian, and that's something that you consider too, is make use of your E as in check every bush you can. It's actually most of the time more valuable to check than to do proc your abilities, which sort of seems odd, but it's still that's just the way. Sometimes if you check the right place, that's a kill, or a full team fight sometimes. So you'll be careful of that.
Here you guys saw Azaraki go ham on Varian. That was parasiting when they should not have been parasiting. They didn't have any count. A lot of that was in depth the game a lot. And they're tanking and transition tanking and parasite. They should have pieced completely the moment Azaraki. It wasn't really safe for them to be there anymore. And with that, I'm going to pause my video because it just runs a little bit of black screen. That's our last clip of the day, guys.
Yeah. Please. There's the email. Send your clips to that email, or even just write us a question. Say, hey, I need help playing blank better. Could you... And we will try our best to get a scene, or to get a game of us playing that shaper or whatever you asked us, and we'll be analyzing it on the show. So please, please, please send in stuff. You can send it to our Twitters as well, which was linked a little bit higher up, at Azaraki Dragon and at TheSource AL. Make sure you follow this as well here on Twitch, that purple follow button to the bottom left of the screen.
Yep. And guys, everything will go up on YouTube, so if you showed up late, if you want to show this to someone, if you want to get your friends into Dawngate, bring them to the show, and share it around so that we can keep on doing this show for you guys and talk about more hilarious things involving Kensu Q and many stasises. And we'll let everybody leave and go to Game of Thrones. We'll be piecing out ourselves. So thanks for watching, guys.